King Harris's girlfriend just went public, and the internet cannot stop talking about it. The son of T.I. and Tiny Harris, a young man who's been living his life under the constant glare of cameras since birth, is now facing the consequences of years of chaos, drama, and legal trouble. But what really happened in that courtroom? And why is the story about his girlfriend speaking out sending shockwaves through the Harris family and beyond? From a privileged life surrounded by fame and fortune, King seemed destined for success. Music, reality TV, social media. He had it all. But along the way, things started spiraling. Verbal altercations, arrests, court appearances, even small things like a seatbelt violation became major headlines. And then came the Instagram wars, public family disputes, and even a heated rap beef with none other than 50 Cent, where King went scorched earth in defense of his mother. Now, the woman closest to him, the mother of his child, has stepped forward, revealing shocking details about her experiences with King and the Harris family. Allegations, legal claims, and courtroom drama are all unfolding, and King Harris is at a crossroads like never before. Is this the breaking point? Or is this just the latest chapter in a life that has never been anything but public, chaotic, and controversial? Stay tuned, because what you're about to hear will shock you, and you won't believe how deep this goes. After the shocking courtroom revelation from King Harris's girlfriend, the internet exploded. People couldn't stop talking about what she had said, and suddenly, King Harris was in the center of a storm bigger than anyone could have predicted. But to truly understand why this moment mattered so much, we have to look at the path that led him here. This isn't just a story about one bad decision. It's a story of a young man growing up in a world where fame, family, and social media collide in ways that most people could never imagine. Clifford Joseph King Harris III was born on August 25, 2004, into one of the most famous families in hip-hop. His father, T.I., is a legendary rapper and entrepreneur, while his mother, Tiny Harris, has been a staple of R&B for decades. From the moment King was born, the cameras were on him. Reality shows, family appearances, interviews, nothing about his life was private. And that kind of constant exposure has a way of shaping a kid, for better or worse. King grew up in a large, blended family that included half-siblings like Zanique Pooland, Messiah, Domani, and Deja. Many of them were already carving their own paths in entertainment, which meant King wasn't just growing up in the spotlight, he was competing in it. By 2020, he began exploring music under the stage name Kid Zion, dropping trap-influenced tracks and experimenting with melodic hip-hop. Songs like Bad Intentions and his EP A Thin Line Between a King and a Rebel marked his attempt to carve out a lane separate from his parents' shadow. But social media, the very platform that helped launch his career, also became a magnifying glass for his mistakes. King's Instagram presence was enormous, and with it came both attention and criticism. The Waffle House incident in September 2022 was the first time people outside his reality TV audience began paying attention to his personal behavior. A video surfaced showing a verbal confrontation, and the internet immediately started forming opinions. While his parents defended him publicly, the incident highlighted a pattern. King was not the type to stay quiet when confronted, and his responses often drew even more attention. This pattern escalated. In August 2022, King was arrested over what seemed like a minor seatbelt violation. But instead of handling it quietly, he posted his mugshot online with defiant messages, calling himself a wild beast and hinting at a major comeback. For many, it raised a question: why would someone with so much privilege and opportunity glorify run-ins with the law? T.I. himself weighed in, warning that if King continued down this path, it would lead to prison, something T.I. knew all too well from his own past. And it didn't stop there. King had other charges: speeding, driving on a suspended license, and even DUI. In October 2024, he was arrested in Dunwoody, Georgia, after nearly hitting a police cruiser while leaving a gas station. Marijuana and a firearm were reportedly found in the vehicle. While King cooperated with law enforcement, it was another public marker of his increasingly dangerous trajectory. Then came fatherhood. In November 2024, King's girlfriend, Big Na, gave birth to their son. T.I. even joked on the radio about raising a greatest gangster of all time, but behind the laughter was a deeper concern. King was now responsible for another life, and the eyes of the world were on him more than ever. His Instagram post dedicated to his newborn, titled Dear Son, reflected both pride and a desire to prove himself as a father. But as fans and critics watched, it became clear that parenthood hadn't slowed King down. The real firestorm came with the ongoing drama around King's girlfriend, known online as Big Na. While she had largely stayed out of the public eye, her courtroom statements painted a different picture. She accused King and, by extension, the Harris family of behavior that left her feeling unsupported and exposed. She shared alleged texts that suggested a troubling pattern of interaction, hinting at more serious issues involving people connected to the family. These claims, while not fully proven in court, created a media frenzy and brought King's personal life into the spotlight in ways that music and social media never could. To add fuel to the fire, King's involvement in rap beefs complicated things even further. In early 2026, he jumped headfirst into his father T.I.'s feud with 50 Cent. The disagreement began over a proposed versus battle that 50 Cent reportedly backed out of, but quickly escalated when 50 Cent shared an unflattering photo of Tiny Harris. King responded aggressively, even posting a tombstone image of 50 Cent's late mother, Sabrina Jackson. This move crossed a line that even his father acknowledged publicly. T.I. expressed concern, saying the t-shirt incident gave King justification to act out in ways he had tried to prevent. Yet, despite the warnings, King continued to defend his mother and engage publicly, demonstrating both loyalty and reckless judgment. The entire scenario reflects a larger narrative. King Harris is a young man caught between his own impulses, family expectations, and public scrutiny. Each incident, from arrests to social media feuds to courtroom drama, is a chapter in a story of someone struggling to define himself while under constant observation. And the involvement of his girlfriend, who publicly addressed her experiences in court, is a critical piece. It shows the real-life consequences of living life so openly and recklessly. When those closest to you speak out, there's nowhere to hide. King's story is also a cautionary tale about the influence of celebrity. Being born into fame does not shield someone from mistakes or consequences. On the contrary, it amplifies every misstep. While King's musical pursuits show talent and ambition, his repeated run-ins with the law, family conflicts, and involvement in public beefs illustrate a young man navigating a world he may not fully understand. And as of now, King Harris stands at a crossroads. The girlfriend's courtroom statements, his arrests, and the ongoing family drama highlight that the consequences of his actions are catching up. T.I. has warned him repeatedly, yet the path King continues on could lead to irreversible outcomes. At 21 years old, he faces the challenge of choosing whether to continue chasing reckless behavior or to step back and redefine his future before it's too late. This is the story of King Harris, not just as a celebrity kid, but as a young man whose life is an intricate web of fame, family, legal issues, social media drama, and personal choices. And while the courtroom testimony from his girlfriend has made headlines, it's only part of the bigger picture, a picture that continues to evolve, leaving fans, critics, and the Harris family watching closely. We'll dive deeper into the aftermath of the girlfriend's court appearance, King's latest confrontations, and how the Harris family is responding to the mounting drama. The story is far from over, and every new revelation seems to raise the stakes even higher. As the courtroom doors closed behind King Harris's girlfriend, the story exploded online. Fans, critics, and media outlets dissected every word she had said, trying to connect it to the larger narrative of King's turbulent life. But to fully grasp the impact, you have to understand how deeply entwined King's personal relationships are with the chaos that seems to follow him. King Harris's girlfriend didn't just speak out for attention. Her testimony revealed patterns of behavior, family dynamics, and decisions that painted a picture of a young man struggling under the weight of fame and responsibility. In court, she described moments where she felt unsupported, unseen, and sometimes even manipulated by King and members of the Harris family. Allegations included text exchanges that suggested troubling interactions, some involving people outside the family. While none of these claims had been fully proven in court, the court of public opinion had already formed a verdict. King Harris was spiraling, and the people closest to him were being dragged into the fallout. This was not an isolated incident. Throughout his life, King had repeatedly shown that his choices often led to consequences that could not be easily contained. From the Waffle House altercation to his arrest for a minor seat belt violation, which he turned into a public spectacle, King demonstrated a tendency to escalate situations rather than manage them. And the more he tried to assert his independence, the more attention he drew. T.I., aware of this pattern, had tried to intervene at multiple points. During live Instagram sessions, he warned King that continuing on a path of reckless behavior would inevitably lead to jail time. He reminded his son of his own history, having served time for federal offenses, and explained that experience could not be repeated without severe consequences. If he keeps that up, he's going to prison, T.I. said publicly. There ain't nothing I or mama can do about it. That was not anger talking. That was a father who had walked the path himself, watching his son repeat similar mistakes. Despite these warnings, King continued to make choices that kept him in the public eye for all the wrong reasons. His October 2024 arrest in Dunwoody, Georgia, was a prime example. Nearly hitting a police cruiser while leaving a gas station, being found with marijuana and a firearm, and having an outstanding warrant from Pickens County made headlines. Body camera footage later surfaced, showing King frustrated yet cooperative, a young man aware of the consequences, but still walking a dangerous line. Around the same time, King became a father. Big Na, his girlfriend, gave birth to their son, King Jr., in November 2024. T.I.'s public commentary mixed humor with concern, joking about raising a gangster of the future, while signaling the serious responsibilities King now faced. While fatherhood often changes perspectives, in King's case, it only seemed to add another layer to the drama. Social media followers watched his Instagram posts with a mix of admiration for his musical talent and concern over his personal life. King's girlfriend, Big Na, stayed largely private for much of this period, but the courtroom appearance changed everything. Her statements highlighted the strain of being involved with a public figure under constant scrutiny and the challenges of navigating a family with decades of fame and influence. She pointed to moments where she felt disregarded, threatened, or caught in the middle of disputes that went far beyond her control. This testimony made it clear, living in the Harris orbit came with consequences that extended beyond the headlines. Adding fuel to the fire, King's involvement in rap beefs with prominent figures escalated tensions further. The 2026 feud between T.I. and 50 Cent, originally over a failed versus battle, became a stage for King to assert himself publicly. When 50 Cent posted an unflattering photo of Tiny Harris, King responded aggressively, even posting an image of 50 Cent's late mother's tombstone. T.I. later admitted that this crossed a line, saying the act gave King justification to behave in ways he had been trying to prevent. Yet, King defended his mother and engaged publicly, showing both loyalty and recklessness. This incident also highlighted the generational differences in the rap world. While T.I. had learned to navigate conflicts with caution and strategy, King was learning the hard way that social media and public feuds can escalate rapidly. Each post, each story, and each Instagram Live created ripples that could not be taken back. Fans and critics alike debated whether King's actions were bold and loyal or reckless and dangerous. Meanwhile, the Harris family continued to manage public perception. T.I.'s music during this period, particularly the Kill the King album, thrived despite, or perhaps because of, the public drama. His songs charted on urban radio and Billboard, showing that controversy and creativity often go hand in hand in the entertainment industry. For King, however, the same situations added more pressure and more scrutiny. Being involved in high-profile feuds, having a new child, and facing legal challenges compounded to create an almost unmanageable level of stress for a young man barely into his 20s. Public attention also focused on King's court appearances and legal obligations. The girlfriend's testimony in court was just one part of a broader pattern. When you live life in the public eye and ignore the warning signs, people closest to you eventually speak up. Legal systems don't forget, and social media amplifies every misstep. Witnesses testify, records are kept, and the world watches. For King, each incident became evidence, both legally and in the court of public opinion. The girlfriend's court statements also shed light on family dynamics that had previously been invisible. While the Harris family had always appeared united on reality TV, the behind-the-scenes reality told a more complicated story. Tensions between parents and children, the pressures of fame, and the responsibilities of raising a child at a young age all collided. King's girlfriend became a critical witness to this, exposing vulnerabilities and conflicts that had been hidden from public view. As 2026 progressed, King Harris remained a figure of fascination. The social media buzz, ongoing feuds, and court developments ensured that he stayed relevant in public discourse. Fans debated his future, wondering whether he could turn things around or if he was destined to follow the path his father had warned him about. T.I. continued to express concern while showing support, highlighting the delicate balance between discipline, guidance, and letting his son make his own choices. The girlfriend's court appearance was also a wake-up call for King. The reality of facing public scrutiny, legal consequences, and personal responsibility all at once can be overwhelming for anyone, let alone someone who has grown up in a life where fame is constant. Her statements reminded him, and everyone watching, that actions have consequences, and sometimes those consequences come from the people closest to you. Despite all of this, King Harris's story is far from over. He has shown resilience, creativity, and loyalty to his family, but also impulsiveness and recklessness. The combination makes him a compelling figure in the world of celebrity drama. Every arrest, Instagram post, and music release adds a new chapter to his story, keeping fans glued to social media, reality TV, and news outlets. King Harris's story illustrates a critical point. The girlfriend's courtroom statements are not just a dramatic headline. They are part of a much larger narrative of a young man navigating fame, responsibility, and family dynamics. Each choice, each public interaction, and each legal entanglement contributes to a trajectory that his father, T.I., has been warning him about for years. Whether King will listen and change course or continue down a path of chaos remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the world is watching, and the consequences are real. Where we'll explore the fallout from the girlfriend's court testimony, King's next moves in the music and social media world, and how the Harris family is handling the ongoing public scrutiny. The drama is far from over, and every new revelation raises the stakes even higher. After the courtroom drama, the ripple effects for King Harris were immediate. Social media erupted with reactions, fans dissecting every statement, critics questioning his judgment, and fellow artists weighing in on the situation. King's girlfriend had gone public, revealing intimate details that highlighted the chaos surrounding his life, and it was impossible for anyone to ignore it. The court appearance wasn't just about her grievances, it exposed deeper tensions within the Harris family. King's actions, his arrests, and the public feuds had created an environment where trust was fragile, loyalties were tested, and the consequences of fame became painfully real. People outside the family could see the cracks, and those inside were feeling the pressure firsthand. For King, it was another wake-up call. His choices were no longer private, and his actions directly impacted the people closest to him. Despite the scrutiny, King Harris continued to navigate his life in the public eye. His music career, though promising, was constantly overshadowed by controversy. Every Instagram story, every post, and every public appearance became fodder for debate. In February 2026, his involvement in the feud between T.I. and 50 Cent reached a fever pitch, with King inserting himself aggressively into the conflict. Posting a tombstone with 50 Cent's late mother's name was seen as crossing a line even by seasoned hip-hop veterans, including his own father. T.I. publicly admitted he didn't condone King's actions, acknowledging that the feud gave his son an excuse to act out, undermining the lessons he had been trying to instill. The situation highlighted a harsh reality. King's loyalty to his family sometimes conflicted with public perception and legal boundaries. While T.I.'s music thrived amidst the drama, King was drawing attention for all the wrong reasons. Every move he made seemed to escalate tension rather than calm it, and the girlfriend's court testimony added fuel to the fire. Her words were a sobering reminder that fame and privilege do not shield anyone from accountability. King Harris's arrests continued to be a focal point. His October 2024 encounter with the Dunwoody police, marijuana, a firearm, and a warrant for previous charges was still fresh in public memory, reinforced by the release of body camera footage. Fans and critics analyzed his behavior, noting his frustration and defiance, yet also recognizing his compliance with the officers. It painted a picture of a young man caught between rebellion and responsibility, one who was learning lessons the hard way. Adding to the complexity was King's role as a father. King Jr., born in November 2024, brought both hope and responsibility into his life. T.I. had joked about raising a gangster of the future, but behind the humor was a serious message. King needed to step up, make better decisions, and realize that someone else's life now depended on him. The girlfriend's testimony emphasized this, showing how difficult it was to maintain stability for the child amid public feuds, arrests, and family drama. As the public watched, King Harris was at a crossroads. He could continue down a path defined by impulsive decisions, social media battles, and court appearances, or he could take a step back and reassess his priorities. The girlfriend's court statements were a pivotal moment, a mirror reflecting the consequences of his lifestyle, the strain it placed on his relationships, and the potential long-term fallout. For the first time, the stakes felt tangible not just in the abstract sense of fame or social media, but in real-world consequences, legal, familial, and personal. Even beyond the court, the ripple effects continued. Allegations linking King and his family to controversial situations, though unproven, persisted online. Public discourse framed him as a young man teetering between celebrity privilege and real-world accountability. The media, fans, and critics were relentless, and every action he took was scrutinized. T.I.'s warnings from years prior, if he keeps that energy, he's going to prison, now resonated with a broader audience, highlighting the difficulty of parenting a child under the public microscope. Music and entertainment remained intertwined with his life story. While King experimented with trap and melodic hip-hop under his stage name Kid Zion, his musical output was often overshadowed by drama. The Instagram feuds, arrests, and courtroom revelations created an environment where his talent competed with controversy for attention. Yet, paradoxically, this attention kept him relevant, a reminder that in the celebrity world, visibility often trumps narrative control. The relationship dynamics within the Harris family also became increasingly public. T.I. and Tiny Harris had long navigated fame with strategic poise, but King's public behavior and the girlfriend's testimony exposed cracks. King's disputes with his parents, such as the Falcons game argument and social media confrontations, demonstrated generational tension, with fame and social media amplifying conflicts that might otherwise have remained private. For the girlfriend, the court appearance allowed her to voice frustration and assert her perspective, emphasizing the emotional toll of navigating King's public life and familial ties. In retrospect, the girlfriend's testimony was less about sensationalism and more about accountability. It revealed the pressures of being close to someone who lives publicly, recklessly, and impulsively. Legal and social consequences intertwined, making it clear that King Harris's lifestyle was unsustainable without intervention or reflection. Fans debated whether the spotlight was aiding his growth or accelerating his downfall, while social media platforms became battlegrounds for opinions, support, and criticism. By the time the court proceedings concluded, the narrative was clear. King Harris's life is a cautionary tale of fame, family, and the consequences of public behavior. His arrests, social media feuds, legal battles, and publicized family conflicts form a complex web of challenges. The girlfriend's courage in speaking out added clarity, showing the tangible human impact of King's choices on those around him. Looking forward, King Harris stands at a critical juncture. He has talent, a platform, and a family legacy, yet his history of arrests, social media controversies, and public feuds has created a precarious situation. Whether he leverages these experiences to make better choices or continues along a path of public spectacle remains uncertain. The courtroom was not just a legal arena, it was a symbolic crossroads, signaling that accountability, reflection, and responsibility are now unavoidable. In conclusion, the story of King Harris and his girlfriend illustrates the complexities of celebrity life. Growing up in fame, managing family expectations, navigating social media scrutiny, and confronting legal consequences converge to create a challenging environment for any young adult. Her court testimony provided insight into these pressures, emphasizing that actions have consequences, loyalty has limits, and fame does not protect anyone from the realities of life. King Harris's narrative is far from over. The music, the public attention, the family feuds, and personal choices all continue to shape his story. But the girlfriend's court appearance serves as a pivotal chapter, one that could influence his decisions, reshape his relationships, and redefine his public image. For viewers and fans, it's a reminder that behind the headlines, there are real people, real consequences, and lessons to be learned from the choices we make. The next steps for King Harris will be critical. Will he prioritize responsibility, fatherhood, and career over public chaos, or will the allure of social media, feuds, and drama continue to define him? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain: the world is watching, and every decision matters.